Well, I know it might be a little bit odd making a video about Dalvin Cook when Tennessee won this football game. They won by 1 point. But you know what? I thought Cook was so good. I wanted to make a video about him anyways. I might make a video about Tennessee and how they were able to win this game as well, with Tannehill playing really well in the fourth quarter. But I thought Cook was fantastic. He has so many of these games, and he ended up with 181 yards and a touchdown on just 22 carries. So he averaged 8.2 yards per carry. And he just has a way of doing this where he will have the occasional game where he just completely goes off. I could have made a video about Justin Jefferson and his 175 yards as well, but I want to talk about Cook, so let's just get into it. We'll start things off with this play. Really, the main thing I want you to take a look at is going to be that the left guard and also a tight end will be pulling over to the right of them, so, top of the screen. That's where they're going to be going. And the reason why this is going to be important is because obviously Cook can't just immediately go up. He has to wait for his blockers to get in position a little bit. And a little bit of how they're going to help that out is they're going to do a quick fake as though it'll be a rush to the bottom of the screen and then get up to the top of the screen. Just because why not? You have to wait anyways. And as you see, what's going to end up happening once this play starts is that you notice that, okay, so the tight end is in position where he's trying to get in position to block right here, but he's still a little bit further away. And I always feel like these kind of plays are so difficult because for someone like Cook, he has to shoot the gap, but he has to really get through the gap and get through the gap quickly when the gap hasn't even formed yet. So he's not exactly sure where he can or can't go. So I always feel like these kind of plays are very difficult for a halfback. But nevertheless, he is able to shoot through there, and then he just outruns everybody. And he has that breakaway speed where he's able to get into the end zone for a touchdown. So just definitely tremendous play from him. But I also thought that beginning portion was just as important as the ending portion of his speed. The speed's what's going to get all the attention because obviously that's the most notable thing, but just the awareness of knowing where exactly you can run to, also very good. Guy has very good vision. I think very underrated vision from Dalvin Cook. I also really like this play where it's going to be a similar idea this time to the bottom of the screen instead of the top of the screen, but you have an offensive lineman and also a tight end who are going to pull over to the bottom of the screen. I mean, this is really what Minnesota likes to do. This is what they do very frequently. But what I find interesting here is I'm not sure if there's a cross-up or what, but as you see right when this play starts, you have two players who are running over to block one Tennessee player, whereas there's also a couple of defensive backs who could run over and potentially make a play on Cook. So it's not working out exactly as planned. And what would a lot of guys do? Well, some backs would just run straight up the middle, pick up a yard, and call it a day. Say, hey, cut our losses, whatever, it's no big deal. And some backs should do that, to be honest. But Dalvin Cook is not one of those guys. He's instead going to see if he can bounce things to the outside, and he just has the speed to do it. Well, watch how he's able to just completely blow by not one but two defensive backs, and he picks up the first down on a play that really could have gone for nothing had he not been as quick and had he not been able to accelerate as quickly. And while I keep talking about speed, it really is. It's that acceleration that's also so important. He has incredible acceleration, and he showed it right there. Acceleration is so important in a halfback position. I'll take someone who can accelerate and get to a top speed over someone who maybe has a higher top speed but takes longer to get there. And like this next play will be another example of that. So what's going to happen on this play is that it's basically just going to be a pitch to the bottom of the screen. Cousins just gets it out to Cook. And then Cook just runs to the bottom of the screen. Very simple play. What's interesting about this play, well, for one thing, you have a linebacker who's going to read this play. He's going to try to run in and make a tackle on Cook. So, it's a one-on-one matchup. I think it's kind of fun to, in this situation, just kind of rely on one player. And Cook oftentimes is your best player on offense. I think he is your best player on offense. So why not put a big play in his hands? But what I also find interesting about this is, it's a 3rd down and 1. So not only is it a one-on-one matchup, but it's a one-on-one matchup to get 1 yard. You don't see this too often. A lot of times guys like to rely on their offensive line, rely on their quarterback. But you know what? For Minnesota here, they're going full out with their halfback, trying to make sure that this is how they can get this conversion. So, Cousins tosses it to Cook, and watch how Cook makes a little subtle move to get by the linebacker. He kind of faked as though it's going one way, goes another way. But as you see here, what's interesting about this is that somehow the blocking downfield got a Tennessee player to be completely, over the sideline, so he's kind of completely out of position. I don't really know how you would notice him if you're Dalvin Cook. It's hard to really notice when you're watching because you're not really expecting to look over, past the sideline to find somebody. But the rule typically is that it's fine if you're get pushed out of the sideline. You just have to make sure you get back as quick as possible. But watch how when he gets back, Cook still is able to make a move and makes a couple more moves before finally just stepping out of bounds. Just an incredible play. He's so good in open space. So I like those types of plays where you sort of pitch it to him, because if he is so good in open space, we'll use that to your advantage. Use him in open space. And I really do feel like there's a reason why when you're able to run against a team, when Minnesota is able to run against a team, they just look so much better than when they're not. And I think Cook has a huge reason why they're able to run so well against certain teams. And I think that's kind of why you sometimes see this Minnesota team, sometimes they look terrible against the Colts. Sometimes they look great against the Titans. It really is their ability to just be able to be successful in those moments with running the football. One more play I want to talk about would be this one, where it's going to be run to the top of the screen now. This is a play where the fullback's getting involved. I also love how Minnesota uses the fullback. I do really like the running game when it works. I think that there's other problems I have with this Minnesota team, but the running game tends to work out pretty well, and especially when it works, it's a blast to watch. The way this play works is that you have the fullback running out. He's blocking the edge guy, so that way you can just have your tight end and then also your right tackle just block an interior defensive lineman and a linebacker, and then Cook just runs to the top of the screen. And as you see, it works out pretty well, but once again, there's going to be a defensive back who runs in and he reads this play pretty well. It's 31, that's Byard, who, pretty good player. So, there's been a lot of him in this film study. So he's going to try to run over and make a play. But again, watch what's going to happen here, where Cook's just able to straight up outrun him. He gets by him and picks up the first down. Just another really good play by Cook. He's just so quick, accelerates so fast, and he has the vision and he has the awareness to move. I mean, he really is he's like the perfect halfback if you designed him in a lab. The real only problem with him is that, his name is Dalvin Cook when healthy, because he's always, you always say Dalvin Cook is great when he's healthy, because you can't say it without that, because, he has had that injury history, but there's no doubt about it that when he's on the field, he's an absolute monster, and he is a force to be reckoned with. I guess I also should mention that, Minnesota did end up losing this game, but I wanted to talk about Cook, A, just because I like talking about the positives, and B, because I think Tennessee is a really good team, and I think the fact that Minnesota nearly beat them, I think Minnesota actually should feel kind of good about this loss, even though you're now 0-3. I get that you don't have too many losses, left to burn, but at the same time, I think you've proven that, the game against the Colts was a fluke. You are still a very talented team, but the problem just is now 0-3 is just it's a tough hole to climb out of. But you know what? It happens all the time that a team starts off slow and still makes the playoffs. And if any team's going to do it, it could be Minnesota. And I think if they are going to do it, a big part of it is going to have to be with Dalvin Cook continuing to run the ball very well, in my opinion. So that's just what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts of Dalvin Cook and his performance? I always love hearing from you. And also just what are your thoughts of the Minnesota Vikings as a whole? And of course, as always, thanks for watching.